Hey everyone, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel Learn with Amit. This is a complete video lecture of notes with explanation of chapter 8, How do organisms reproduce? Reproduction. Reproduction is a process by which all organisms multiply in number and increase their population. There are two types of reproduction. One is sexual reproduction and another is asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction that involves two individuals, one male and one female. They produce sex cells or gametes which fuse to form a new organism, like mammals, human beings, or animals, etc. Then asexual reproduction is asexual reproduction is a method of reproduction that involves only one organism. A single organism reproduces two or multiple organisms on its own. This is seen in all unicellular organisms, some multicellular organisms, and a few plants. Example, bryophyllum, that the new plant grow from its leaf sides. Then we have modes of reproduction used by single organism. Fission. Fission is a asexual reproduction that is common in most of the unicellular organisms. When the fission results in two daughter cells, it is binary fission. This is parasemium or paramecium. When fission results in many daughter cells, it is called multiple fission or plasmodium. However, some unicellular organisms show somewhat more organization of their bodies, such as in Leishmania, which causes Kala-Hazar, which have hip-like structure at the end of the cell. Then planes of fission may be different for different organisms. Then we have regeneration and fragmentation. Regeneration is the process of growing back the lost organ of a body part by the organism, that is lizard. It means आपने देखा होगा जैसे lizard का अगर tail को या किसी body part को कट कर देते हैं, then again after some period of time it grows back. That is regeneration. Then fragmentation is the process by which an organism gets fragmented into smaller pieces and each piece grows into a whole new organism. That is amoeba, or there is Planaria hydra. Binary fission is in amoeba. Then budding. Budding is a type of asexual reproduction in which a small cast-like structure is formed on the parent's body, which gives rise to a new individual. Bud may remain attached to the parent, that is yeast, or may separate and become a new individual, that is hydra. Or example is budding in hydra. Then we have vegetative propagation. This is a type of asexual reproduction seen in plants. The vegetative part of the plant, like leaves, stem, roots, give rise to new plant. Vegetative propagation can be artificial or natural. It can be either artificial or natural. It means both the ways. Then natural vegetation propagation happens through leaves, that is bryophyllum, stem turmeric or ginger, runners or stolon, that is grass or strawberry, bulbs, that is onion or lily, etc. Then this is an image to show you that fragmentation and regeneration in hydra. Then artificial methods including cutting, grafting, layering, and plant tissue culture. It means by these methods you can also grow new plants, or just mix the two plants with different nature or quantities or qualities. Then spore formation. Organisms such as fungi make spores that can grow into complete new individuals when dispersed from their fruiting body. This is a diagram. Then we have sexual reproduction. Why the sexual mode of reproduction? It is DNA copying mechanism creates variations which are helpful for, or which are useful for ensuring the survival of the species. Mode of sexual reproduction allow for greater variations to be generated. Then we have why the need of sexual reproduction, or why the sexual mode of reproduction is needed. Combining variations from two or more individuals would thus create new combinations of variants. We have two types of divisions, or two types of cell division seen as eukaryotic organism, that is mitosis. It takes place in somatic cells, maintains the chromosomes number and produces two diploid daughter cells required for asexual reproduction, development and growth, cell replacement and regeneration. Then other is meiosis. This takes place in sex cells, reduces the number of chromosomes by half and half the amount of DNA as compared to non-reproductive body cells, produces four haploid daughter cells required for sexual reproduction, that is gamete formation. Then here we have sexual reproduction in flowering plants. The reproductive parts of angiosperms are located in the flower. Different parts of the flower are sepals, petals, stamens and pistils. Stamens and pistil are the reproductive parts of a flower which contains the germ cells or anther, that is having the seed attached to it. Then sexual reproduction in plants happens through flowers. Stamen is the male reproductive part and produces pollen grains that are yellowish in color. Pistil is present in the center of a flower and is the female reproductive part. It is made up of an ovary-style stigma. Essential whorls of the flower such as endorsism and genosism help in the sexual reproduction of plants. Non-essential parts of flowers. These are the typical structure of flower contains essential whorls and non-essential whorls. Sepals and petals are called non-essential whorls as they do not directly take part in the reproduction, but the different colors or the smell, this attracts the insects to come and help in the in the reproduction, or they disperse the seeds. Then sepals like leaf structure below petals. Sepals protect the inner delicate whorl during bud condition and also perform photosynthesis if they are green in color. Petals, when they are colored, attracts insects for pollination. Then endorsism and genosism are also called as essential reproductive whorls of a flower. Androcysm produces pollen grains containing male gametes and genosism produces ovaries which are female gametes. Each individual member of a androcysm is called as a stamen and consists of anther and filament. Anther produces haploid pollen grains. Each individual member of a genosism is called pistil and consists of stigma, style and ovary. This is the picture of a flower, or the various parts of a flower are shown here. Pollination. The process of transfer of pollen grains from anthers to the stigma of a flower is known as pollination. It is required for fertilization. When the seeds are, or when the eggs are transferred to the stigma of a flower for pollination, this process is called, or this is called pollination. It is required for fertilization. Pollination has two types. One is self-pollination or autogamy, and cross-pollination, that is allogamy. In self-pollination, transfer of pollen grains takes place from anther to stigma of a same flower on another flower of the same plant. और जब भी किसी भी एक फूल का जो एग्स और स्टिग्मा है या पोलन जो स्टिग्मा है सेकेंड फ्लावर से जाके शेयर होता है या फिर वहाँ पर ट्रांसफ़र होता है इन द सेम प्लांट, दैट इज कॉल्ड सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन. एंड क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन, in cross pollination pollens are transferred from anther to stigma of another flower. Many pollinating agents play their roles in cross pollination. Example: water, wind, insect, birds, bats, animals, humans, etc. In cross pollination, the anthers of different flower, it reaches another plant by the different agents. Example: water, wind, insect, birds, bats, animals, humans, etc. Reproduction in human beings. The rate of general body growth begins to slow down. Reproduced tissues to become mature. This period during adolescence is called puberty. जब भी हमारा प्यूबर्टी का एज आता है then different our organs they take or their size enlarges and different for or very different hormonal growth takes place in our body. Then we have signs of puberty. In girls, breast size begins to increase, oily skin begin to develop, pimples around the cheeks or on face, growth of hairs on face in the form of mustaches and beard in boys, enlargement of voice box or cracking in voice in boys, penis occasionally begins to enlarge and erect, hairs at armpits and genital area. Then male reproductive system. The male reproductive organ is in males is a pair of testes. They produces the male sex cells and sperms and also produces male sex hormones, that is testosterone. The main reproductive organs. The main reproductive organs in a male is a pair of testes. They are present in scrotal sacs outside the body and contain semifernous tubules, as they are the structural and functional unit. Then male sex cells sperms are produced by semifernous tubules and mature in the epidermis. Then leading cells in interstitial cells present in between the semifernous tubules secrete hormone testosterone. Male accessory reproductive organs are several accessory reproductive organs that aid in the reproductive processes. The prostate gland and the seminal vesicles are glands of reproductive system which makes semen and nourish the sperms. Penis having urethra passing through it is called copulatory organ or copulatory organ. Male ducts. In males, the vas deferens and the urethra are the main ducts. A single vas deferens carries sperms from respective testes to the urethra. Urethra acts as a common passage for semen and urine. Then female reproductive system. The human female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tubes, oviducts, and the accessory organs such as the uterus and the vagina. Female main reproductive organs. The main reproductive organ in a female is a pair of ovaries. They produce the female sex cells called eggs or ova and also produce female sex hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Female accessory reproductive organs are uterus and vagina are the accessory reproductive organs in human females. The uterus is the site of fetal development and vagina receives sperms from the male. Then menstruation. It is a cyclic event of the release of ovum from the ovary and its removal from the body when fertilization does not happen. During menstruation, the blood-rich endometrium of the uterus also breaks down while the ovum is being removed from the body. Two pituitary hormones, LH and FSH, are two ovarian hormones, estrogen and progesterone, all have their roles in the menstruation. In humans, the cycle repeats after every 28 days. Fertilization or human reproduction. Human reproduction or human reproduce sexually. The male produces sperms and the female produces eggs. When the sperm fuses with the egg, it forms a zygote that gives rise to a new progeny. Contraceptive methods. Reproductive health deals with the prevention of STDs and unwanted pregnancy. Understanding the reproductive system is also a part of reproductive health awareness. Contraceptives are devices that prevent unwanted pregnancy and helps avoid STDs. Contraceptives can be of various types such as mechanical barriers, hormonal, chemical methods or surgical methods, etc. Coitus interrupts. It is a very unreliable contraceptive method where the coitus is stopped before the male ejaculates inside the female reproductive tract. Then, rhythm method. Another unreliable method of contraception where coitus is avoided when the female is fertile and the chances of fertilization are very high. Condoms. One of the most effective methods of contraception, a mechanical barrier that stops the semen from entering the female tract, preventing pregnancy. It also avoids the possibility of contracting STDs. Diaphragms or diaphragms are barriers that are added inside the female reproductive tracts. They stop the entry of semen inside the female tract and thus prevent pregnancy. Contraceptive pills are chemical methods of contraception. They change the level of hormone in the body that prevents the release of ovum from the ovaries. Emergency pill. Emergency pills are those pills which can be taken after coitus to avoid pregnancy. They quickly change the level of hormone in the body and prevent a successful implantation even if the eggs get fertilized. IUD stands for intrauterine device. They can be used for a couple of years. It is a device that is inserted into the uterus, changing its shapes and preventing successful implantation of the zygote. Then sterilization is a surgical method of going permanently sterile. This can be done in both male and females. In males, it is called vasectomy and in females it is called tubal ligation. Fertilization. Fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. In flowering plants, after pollination, the pollen germinates on the stigma surface of pistil and generate two male nuclei. Ovule has egg cells and two polar nuclei. One male nucleus fuse with two polar nuclei and form triploid endosperm. Another male nucleus fuses with the egg cells and forms a zygote that gives rise to the embryo and further plant. After fertilization, ovary becomes fruit and ovules turn into seeds. All other parts wither away. Then before moving forward, if you like a video or find it useful, then give us a thumbs up and comment us if we need any suggestion or any corrections are required. Then if you want to download the PDF of this video, then visit our website by clicking on the link given in the description, or you can download the PDF from our Telegram group too. Thank you. So keep learning, keep growing.